I finished the audiobook of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. It's a beautiful story that builds to an exciting ending. I could say lots of things about it, but I wanted in particular to share a pair of quotes that foreshadow each other. It speaks to the conflict between happy endings and sad endings, hope and realism. And it resonates with me so much about why I love Brandon Sanderson's writing and stories. But it is going to contain massive spoilers, so if you haven't read it yet and want to, maybe save this video to come back to later once you've finished it, but there are going to be spoilers from now on. To give it some context, Yumi and Painter have just been watching a drama on their world's equivalent of television, and this particular programme has all the appearances of ending sadly, and Yumi is upset by this, and this is what she says. "But why?" Painter said, "Some stories end this way. Depends on what the writer wants. It's good that they're all a little different. You don't want them all to be happy." "Yes, I do." Her voice grew softer. "They could create anything, make anything. Why would they make something sad?" And Painter replies, "I've heard people find it more realistic." "Is it?" Yumi asked, pulling her blankets tighter. "Is sadness realistic?" "That felt more depressing than the ending itself." "I used to think so," Painter said. "And Yumi, many things in life are sad, so it's realistic at least to some experiences. It's good that some stories are happy, some are sad. That part is realistic." She shook her head and dried her tears in the blanket. "Sometimes," Painter said, "the more you think about it, the better an ending like this seems. It can be right, even if it's painful." "There's still hope," Yumi said, fierce. "The programme isn't finished. Something might happen tomorrow." "I don't know. That was the end of the arc. You can see it in the extra long credits. Tomorrow they'll switch to a different set of characters." "No, it's not over, you'll see." She said it with more confidence than she felt. So that happens earlier in the book, but at the end it was Yumi who sacrificed herself and had to accept the sad ending that she was so fiercely against. Apart from then it all turns around, and it is Painter that refuses to give up hope. And actually we learn later that the ending of that television drama actually had a happy ending as well. But this is what happens in the epilogue with Hoyd/Wit narrating. So the story is supposedly over and it has a sad ending, but then Hoyd is saying, "We need stories. I'm sorry I had to bring this ending to you, but the more you think about it, the more you'll realise that our tale today had to end in such a way. Stories demand certain endings. It's part of their nature. I wish I could have explained this to Painter," kneeling as he did on the cobbles, staring out as his world turned upside down. Because he didn't understand. He thought the story wasn't finished. Horribly inconsiderate of him. We were all ready to go home. The story should have been done. He just kept on painting anyway. And so it is Painter who refuses to give up. And he says, nightmares can be real. Why not dreams? And he paints Yumi back to life. And so it is actually a happy ending in the end. And this is what I love about Brandon Sanderson. Even when all hope is lost, there is still hope. People can go on about realism all they want. Hope is much harder and more painful and more difficult than realism. More happy endings, say I. This book has lots to say about many things, about AI and being very, very careful about what you command, about the commands that you put into machines, because it may just end up eating you and destroying your souls. And I know that Brandon Sanderson wrote this book for his wife, and all the bits where it was talking about audience and how that's the one person who was the most important audience member. And you could tell that he was writing about his wife, and it was just very sweet.